So welcome to episode 25 of Agencyphonics. I'm delighted today to have the agency that is Knowlton, and you must have been hiding beneath a rock if you haven't come across Dan and Lloyd Knowlton over the past few months on LinkedIn. They are, in my opinions, just marketing geniuses using some seriously good humor and a lot of very creative wig use and outfit and fancy dress outfits to get across some very serious marketing points, but in a very comical way. And I've just laughed myself. I mean, I think you're probably the funniest thing on LinkedIn. That is, an accolade you now have to live up to. And obviously wow. I've seen, I mean, the amount of engagement you guys have had has been amazing. And you're called Knowlton, you're brothers, and you're based near Margate or in Margate?
Well, we're Manston, which is like next to Margate, but everyone knows Margate, so yeah, Margate.
Because I saw some scary video of Lloyd dressed up as a clown chasing along the season, so I imagine it was someone around that way.
Yeah.
And you guys are effectively how would you describe your agency?
Well, we started as calling ourselves a digital marketing agency. But we mainly specialize in content production and paid ad campaigns. So most of what we do is on social media and content production, but a digital marketing agency loosely. Yeah.
So basically all the marketing you do is on some kind of digital platform rather than traditional. Is that how you describe it then? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because someone the other day said to me, what's a digital agency? And I was like, well, you are right. Most agencies now are all digital really, but some people just don't do like traditional media at all. So I think there is still a difference and stuff. And so how did you get started? Like, how did it all begin? When did it begin? How many years ago?
Lloyd, is it 6 years ago now?
Yeah, about 6.
Yeah, so 6 years ago. Where did it start? So I did a marketing degree at Brighton Uni and didn't learn much about marketing.
Did you pass?
Sorry?
Did you pass?
I actually got a first, which,
Did you? That's pretty impressive.
But my first year I almost failed, and then my second year I actually tried, and my third year I tried. But I just learned how to pass an exam, basically, and passed. Okay. So we did that, and then I went straight into a job in London and worked my way up the ranks there. And then I quit after a year, and I just hated it. I was doing a job that was, long hours, hated it. Quit and came home to my parents and said, "Oh, I don't want to work there anymore." And then my dad has run our dad has run a business consultancy for how many years, Lloyd? 18 years or something.
About 15, not far off. I'll just occasionally come in and clarify things that Dan gets wrong. That can be my role in this podcast.
Thanks, Lloyd. And then I started working at his company, do some marketing for his consultancy. Yeah. Started to get some small clients, doing some marketing training. And then Lloyd saw that I was having so much fun and quit his job and came into my dad's business and started doing some other kind of work, some other support. And then we basically went on a long walk one day, which is really random, and both realized we're working in the same office. We've got different skills. Why don't we start our own thing and kind of work together? And then from then on, we started to work together, started to get bigger, better clients. And then I reckon, we were talking about this earlier, Lloyd, the first 4 years of us doing this, we were just figuring out what on earth we were doing and how to do it and what we were good at. And then from 4 years to now, since in the last 18 months, it's gone from just us two to 6 of us now. So we're still a small team, but now we're actually building a business rather than a profitable job, which is... Yeah.
I think nothing changes though. You'll still be figuring it out as you go along all the way up, probably. Even when you get bigger, you're still figuring out what's happening. The world's changing so fast.
Yeah, and we're still a very young agency. Like Dan said, we've been going 6 years, but I see us as 18 months in. Really, we were trying to work out what the hell was going on for 4 years, and we learned a lot. We learned a lot. And we're still learning a huge amount. Is that Dan on your mug, Spencer?
Have you got a mug with my face on it?
Yeah. Does not everyone have a picture of Dan? There's a fantastic website.
This is amazing.
Where you can buy loads of Knowlton merchandise. I'm not sure if you've come across it yet.
Wait, can I just take a photo of that? Because I need to. This is like my lifetime achievement now.
Is it? So Lloyd, were you actually a teacher, or is that not true?
So yeah, I I came out of school, had no idea what I wanted to do. I actually tweeted about this yesterday because all this stuff in the news at the moment about A-level results. I kind of tweeted and said, "Don't worry if you haven't got the results you want." I got 2 D's and 2 E's, I think.
And now he's a millionaire.
I wish.
No chance of being that billionaire he was talking about.
Yeah, I'll give it away first. But yeah, so I came out with these bad results. Still got into uni to train to be a primary school teacher because they were so desperate for male primary school teachers. They would accept any grades, basically. You've now got a Lloyd mug.
Oh, this is brilliant. You've got a mug with Lloyd's face on it.
Is that the same mug the other side, or is that a completely different mug, Spencer? That's impressive. I feel bad that I don't have a mug with your face on it, Spencer. We've let the side down there.
We've got his book, Lloyd. We've got his book here, look.
You got the book. That's enough. Sorry. Yeah. So you were saying?
Yeah. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. Rubbish. I was going to university to be a primary school teacher. I basically didn't know what I wanted to do, so I thought I'd do that. 2.5 years in to my 3-year degree and training to be a teacher, I decided I didn't want to be a teacher. So I did the placements within the course. So I had sort of 6 months at the end of the course actually being a teacher in a school 4 days a week. And then got out and thought, I want to try something different for a year. Got a few weird jobs. And then, 2 or 3 years later, like Dan said, that was at the point where I thought, oh, it looks more interesting what you're doing. So let's try and make this work.
And what's great about your business, and I think, I've been doing a lot of talking about this recently, and we spoke at the beginning about how, you're obviously fans of Daniel Priestley as well. And it's interesting, when I grew my agency through the noughties, as we effectively call them, it's almost like personal branding and influencer kind of got lost. It didn't get lost. It was all about the brand of the business. It wasn't about the people. There was no human element. It sort of got in that period. And if you go back in and, obviously, Dan, you did your degree in marketing. If you look at the David Ogilvies, these were fantastic thought leaders. The people like, Charles and Maurice Saatchi back in the day. These guys had an opinion, a point of view. Ogilvy was very strong on the quality of writing. Less grammatical mistakes in his writing. Sorry, talking about some of the book typos. And actually they had personalities in the 80s and the 90s, but that kind of all went. And actually for 10 years, there was this very weird period. And Daniel Priestley wrote that book in 2010. I think it didn't get published till 2011-12 about, how, and actually, although he didn't say this, I read this about 3 or 4 years ago, if you don't have a personal brand in 3 or 4 years, no one will do business with you. And, when you look at those big companies like the Elon Musk or Tesla's, Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, all of the people behind the big brands that are out there now. It's almost like they're not faceless organizations. They do have people behind them. And you guys I think you've really, this is more uncommon than you realize, and you probably see this, but through the work you've done, through the podcast and the fantastic video clips, you've created this incredible personal brand between the two of you, which actually is only really, I'm only seeing that with, very fast growing and very successful agencies right now. So I think you've got some really great ingredients there. And it's not that you're just doing it for the sake of it, right? You guys are putting some really good content out, making a lot of sense, and you're doing it with a bit of humor and a bit of personality. So I think that's got to be applauded,
Yeah.
We'd love to talk to you more about that, because in the book, we talked about there are different ways to grow and how one of the ways is through fame. So obviously you hear me talk about my which is now 25, 25, 25, 25, which is 4 areas, but you guys you may have gone down that route. I'm guessing your dad's consultancy probably would apply to that route, but your business has been much more around building fame and notoriety and being famous for what you do, right? Which is not my microphone at the table then. And I'd love to explore more with you about how that's worked. Has it worked?
Yeah, it definitely has. We started out, Dan started out right at the start.
Sorry, every time, I just realized every time you talk, I've got your mug, and every time Dan and it's going to get really confusing. Sorry.
Sorry. that can be a way you instruct which person you want to answer the question, Spencer. Just show us whichever mug for whoever you want to hear from.
So, Dan, what do you think about that? Sorry.
Well,
Sorry.
Spencer.
How's it been? Tell us, Lloyd. Be serious now. How's it been working?
Yeah, so it definitely has been working, and I think we're really lucky. When Dan started, before I even got on board, he was just creating content online, and looking back, it was terrible. But gradually building.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Your content, Dan, was terrible.
It actually was.
Was it? Okay.
But on that note, we look back at stuff 6 months ago and constantly think it's terrible. I think that now we've realised that's a sign to show that we're progressing. It's just a bit cringy when you look back at stuff. But yeah, Dan was putting this content out there constantly, and that was how we got any business. And to be honest, I think it was originally probably because we were scared to get out there, scared to pick up the phone, scared to go networking. And it was a bit easier to sit in your room and record yourself, being a bit nervous.
In your pants.
Yeah, in your pants. But as we continue to do that, over the years, long term is how it's really worked out for us, because now we've been doing this inbound stuff, so creating content, trying to entertain and educate for 6 years. We're now getting leads through and winning significant business from people that have been following us for 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, whatever. So we're really, the last 18 months, like we said, seeing the results of it. And I'm just happy that we committed and kind of played the long game, really.
And well, the thing is everyone forgets in B2B marketing, it is a long game. You know, there are a series number of touch points. Yes, there's always serendipitous things that happen in the moment, but it is, you know, the trust and chemistry that I wrote about in the book, and you have to, once people have seen you for a long period of time doing what you're doing, then they know you're more credible. And so it is great in a way, B2B marketing, because it just keeps on giving back. Like 7 years from now, you'll win a deal because of that, you know, LinkedIn marketing sketch you did, and you'll go, what? But it's you know, it's
funny because there was one of our first like actual big clients, the first one that sort of took us up to that next level. I remember we spoke to the marketing manager, Lloyd, you remember, and we really kind of drilled down and were asking him, how did you find us? What do you, and he told us this whole process of 3 years ago, he saw me tweet something and then started reading our blog, and then signed up to our newsletter, and then saw me speak at an event. I love that you're still sipping on the glass.
Sorry.
And it took all those different things, and 3 years later, and when he discovered us, like Lloyd says, we weren't doing things to a good enough quality to work with a big brand like that. Whereas he watched our journey, and then when we got to that stage, he then got in touch.
Once you got past all the shit stuff, he was in.
Exactly, yeah.
The thing is, you're always going to look back at what you've done today in 2 or 3 years and think the same, you know. But it's all, the great thing about you guys is that you're constantly pushing forwards, right? And also the more you do this, the better it will get. And anyway, so so you've done some great work with some good brands already as well, which is pretty impressive to see.
Yeah, I think it's taken time to build up though. That first, I'm trying to think, Lloyd, how many years we were just working with little small hotels or shops or, and not doing anything for a lot of money and just about keeping our head above water. And then it took all of that to then figure out and get good at what we're doing. And then now we're actually getting the bigger global brands and
But also going back to your brand identity, I think you've also got that quite polished now, haven't you? You've got, I mean, Dan, you've always seemed to be wearing the same Hera tops, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Is that one now you got on or
this
not?
This is one now, yeah. This is
You're wearing Hera. Because I also wear Hera. If you notice,
you are joking.
I've got Hera on my clothes. And I thought, well,
this is amazing.
I'm start dressing like I'm getting a bit hot now. But
for the listeners, Spencer's got a T-shirt with my face printed on it.
I thought it was a Hera shirt.
Oh, wow.
So,
Thanks, Spencer.
That's okay. Well, I just thought you needed a little bit of,
I'm wondering what else is going to what else are you going to pull out the woodwork throughout this?
Interestingly, I was really, really impressed with your wig collections. So I thought I'd probably have a little go myself. I thought the clown wig, quite good. I can't actually get it on.
This is brilliant.
That's the Lloyd look.
That's the Lloyd look.
You
It's
are
not quite the Lloyd look.
no, you can't pull it off quite as well as me, Spencer.
I got the Dan wig as well.
You've got the classic brown.
Yeah, the problem with the Dan wig, good because it makes my hair look less grey. I need the highlight.
That looks awful.
How does it go that way? But
I can't even tell that's a wig, Spencer. It looks so natural.
Probably how my hair used to. No, not quite. Actually, if I can share screen with you quickly, you know, one of the things that where could you share screen in the podcast normally? You can't really do that, can you? But I don't know if you can see this, but we actually started to experiment with setting up our own Shopify site. So can you see the screen?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So we've actually just set up, we're selling wigs now, mugs, t-shirts. Abby and we've been doing this on the sidelines.
This is ridiculous.
We're making quite a lot of money out of you. I mean, did you see that's the best seller at the moment is the wig?
That is insane.
Yeah, there you go.
This is brilliant.
All joking aside, I had it set up so my 15-year-old son would walk in and I was going to say, hey, Archie, what are you doing? I'm on a podcast, yeah? I thought she's gone to Reading with his mates, so I can't. He was going to walk in wearing this T-shirt, and I was going to
one.
Amazing.
And I was going to say to him, Archie, what are you wearing? He goes, oh, Knowlton. We're all wearing Knowlton now. What hair of shit? That's all out of date now.
You never put this much effort in with other podcasts, so I feel pretty special, Spencer.
Well, luckily for you guys, I was on holiday in Portugal last week, sitting on a sun lounger, watching your content, giggling away on the sunbed. Everyone was wondering what I was laughing at. And I just thought, I think I've got to do something a bit more creative with you guys.
This is brilliant, though. Top 10 out of 10, I think, Lloyd, don't you think?
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think I've been on a podcast where this much effort's gone in. So thank you very much, Spencer.
I got back from holiday.
Very special.
I got back from holiday and there's this massive package on the table from all the Amazon deliveries that had the wigs, the mugs, the posters, the wallpapers. I've got all of it now ready for the e-commerce store. Amazing. By the way, you guys are probably going to have to start your own store soon. You know that because all great brands, agency brands, they do it.
Such a good idea.
We want the Lloyd's baseball cap collection.
Yeah, I'm modelling our first product today. Just take this label off.
Knowlton headphones. It's all coming, I reckon.
We're waiting for the wig brand deal to come in.
Yeah, you definitely need that. I thought that was quite funny the other day. That was the one I was listening to when I was laughing, which was, are we more famous now for our wig work than we are for the agency?
Yeah, we did actually. People literally started just thinking we make weird wig videos, and then we had to communicate that that's just the thing we're doing at the moment to get attention on LinkedIn. That's not actually what we do.
So I'm little league compared with you when it comes to LinkedIn because, you know, I'm one of these people. I only really connect to people that I've met or I'm going to meet. I keep it quite niche because I find it really hard to manage my network beyond people that I know.
I know, because you didn't connect with me for months when I tried to connect with you, Spencer.
Yeah, because I didn't know you. So, you know.
Well, I read your book, so you must know me.
But as soon as I started laughing at all your content, I was like, quick, I want to know him. But some of your content's had incredible reach, hasn't it? I mean, I think my best ever LinkedIn post was about a measly 400 likes, and that got 30,000 views. So I'm thinking you must be getting 100,000 plus views on some of your LinkedIn content.
Not that much anymore because of the way these social platforms work, because it's getting saturated. Yeah, something that we'd post now that would get 15,000 views 6 months ago would get 50,000 views.
Yeah,
and, an extra 500 comments. So it's working really well for us at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And so what is that? So you now got your agency now. Do both of you have a vision for like where the business will go next? It's just gone really yellow in my room for some reason. It's a light.
Looks nice and warm. It's fine.
Yeah. But what's your vision for the business? Like,
we have actually, interestingly, inspired by the Agencynomics book, audio book, when I listened to it 18 months ago, Spencer.
Yeah.
And actually, at the same time, reading some stuff from James Sinclair. I don't know if you know of him, businessman based in Essex, I think. But yeah, basically,
I'll check him out.
Yeah, good person to follow. But we started thinking long term, and I kind of thought, okay, we've been surviving and we can pay our mortgage, we can pay our bills, but where are we going with this? No, definitely not. I haven't even got a dinghy. So I put together something called the 2030 plan. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a long-term plan to get to 2030. Really creative with the name.
I get it now.
Yeah, and it was based on a lot of stuff from your book, kind of numbers and things that we hadn't thought of before.
Yeah.
And we're not looking to build a huge agency. So I think quite unusually, we are far more happy, I think, enjoying the day-to-day, hopefully having enough money to live a comfortable, happy life, and enjoy ourselves, but we're not looking to make the most money we possibly can, grow as big as we possibly can. We're trying to have fun along the way. We're looking at getting to maybe 15 people, but we're at the moment, and I know I've heard other people kind of limit themselves and then 2 years later have 50 employees, but yeah, that's the kind of size we're looking to get, and then
you're not going to recruit someone called Hill and call it Hill and Knowlton or anything.
No, do you know what? They play havoc in our Google SEO stuff, Hill and Knowlton.
I'm surprised.
But yeah, so that's what we're looking at. We've got a plan 2030 to get to a stage where either we can kind of step away, look to sell the business, or just step away slightly, still be involved in the business, but have some time to do some other things at the same time. And we just want to be working on more creative projects, bigger budgets, and gradually build doing what we're doing. And so far, 18 months into the kind of 11-year plan, we're doing well. So only another, 9 years or something to go, it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's funny, when you work for other people, 2 years is a long time in a job. And then when you have your own business, like I'm in year 9 at Cactus, and Blue Halo was 11 years. I thought I'd never last more than 2 years in any job. And it's incredible that I've lasted as long as I have. But you're, what you're saying to me, by the way, is very similar to probably how, when I first started, I was like, I just want to be 8 people in a barn, just doing some cool stuff. It was very much web work for me rather than creative campaigns. And then when I got to 8, it was like, do you know what? I just want to get to 15 people, about 1 million turnover. That would be all right. And then you get to 1 million and you win a couple of Premiership football clubs, and you're like, yeah, actually, I think I could go on to 3 million. And it does. But I think, as long as you wake up every day and you love what you do, that's
what I've
get tired.
Yeah, that's what I've said to Lloyd. I've said, like, when we do hit our kind of plan of the amount of people and more deals come in for exciting work, are we really going to say, oh, no, we've got to stick to 15? I don't know. But at the same time, who knows?
No, I think, and you're right. And the thing that I love your story that you said earlier on about how in the early days, you're dealing with a local fish and chip shop and the local hire company. I did Poppadoms, the local Indian restaurant.
Nice.
I had HSS Hire. I had Floaties, those armbands. Actually, that was quite a big brand, really, but the website was pretty poor. But everything I did was really small, and like I must have had like 600-700 small clients. That's how small they were, when I was doing 500,000 turnover. But what happens is you grow, is you get less clients paying more money, but sort of better work. And like you play poker with shipping up. Eventually, you just get, I don't know what, I'm so yellow, my screen, compared with you guys. It's like, you're like...
We do, Spencer, by the way, because we shoot videos in here, our lights are daylight.
You've got, like, really cool lights.
They're white lights rather than yellowy lights. So that's why you think you look yellow in comparison, I think.
I mean, it also does look like there's an apocalypse happening out there through that window, right?
Yeah, it's pretty bright, isn't it? It's pretty bright.
So, but, I think I think that's one of the things that, in a way, if you could forward the clock on your agency now, I know that you will, if you keep doing what you're doing, you are going to have an A-list of clients wanting to work with you, wanting to experiment with you on campaign stuff. And, you'll probably, you'll probably love it even more, and it'll get bigger and bigger, and you'll go, and then you'll go, we're not going to go past 50 people.
Yeah.
Not going to go past 250. No, maybe not. I don't know. But
what did you have when you were growing your agency, Spencer? Did you say you wanted 20 people, or what was your?
My first goal was to obviously get through the first 3 months, but then it was I wanted 8 people, and I had this vision of the weird thing is, by the way, guys, I do think the vision is really important. Like I've never met a successful person who hasn't really seen what's going to happen. I love it. Got people walking in the background there, Dan.
Yeah.
Cleaners are in.
Don't know who they are.
Team are in. So when I got to 8 people, in fact, I got to 8, and I had to make 2 people redundant because I just wasn't selling enough to meet the wages, and one of them was my brother-in-law, so that wasn't easy. That was the first lesson.
That sounds awkward.
Don't recruit family. But I got to about 6 people, and I found it I found it tough, and they're all coming in now, aren't they?
We just made them come in to prove that we've actually got a business and employees, and it's not just the 2 of us.
It's a set piece, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant, love it. And by the way, we should talk about set pieces in a minute, but so yeah, it was definitely 6-8 people, and then I was really struggling for a bit. I don't know, it's like difficult when I guess there's 2 of you. It's good because I like the way you bounce off each other all the time, whereas me, I didn't really have anybody else. But I had a business advisor come in, and in the book I wrote the story, and I was doing about 20 grand a month at the time, $250,000, and he just wrote on the wall, 22 on the, not actually on the wall, on the flip chart, sorry. Be weird writing on the wall.
Yeah, that'd be annoying.
So right on the wall, buggers off. But she did do that. He turned up, he wrote on a flip chart, and he just walked out. And I went, all right. But you ask your dad. Your dad probably does that sort of stuff, management consultancy. So but I hit 22, and then he came back next month. I paid him £500 a month just to write a number on the flip chart and walk out.
Easy job.
24, and I hit it 26, and it kind of went up to $500,000 in 6 months. But the key thing with him was that he made me do that exercise that I wrote in the book about visualizing personally. Where do you live? What car do you drive? What yacht have you got? And I'm joking. How much? Where do you put the billion? Is it in gold or is it in crypto? No, I'm joking. Do you give it away to help others? And so, but write down what your life looks like. And I kind of did, and then weirdly it all started to come true, because I think subconsciously then you when you wake up every day, you know why you're doing what you're doing, and if you love what you're doing and you know what you're doing, it's that matrix, that Venn diagram that but if that all comes together, but then once that happened, I wrote down 3 million, and I think I don't know what I wrote down, 3,040,000 people. That was what I thought would be the maximum for me, but then once I got to 3, I wanted 10.
I think I think we've already discussed, we got the 2030 plan, but we're open to things, because in reality, you can have a plan for in 10 years time, but so much is going to change, especially in digital and what the world we're living in. So much can change in 6 months. I think we're open to change, and the only reason I think we kind of put a date on it is 2030. I feel like we're already kind of getting excited about what the next thing could be, and I think we're quite excited, even though we're saying it's 10 years away, imagining, okay, we build up this business, it does all right. Imagine if we could get to a point where we have enough time to work on some new exciting thing together. Or, so I think,
your secret sauce, honestly, guys, I'll tell you this now, because 99% of agencies will not do this, is, whether you love or hate Gary Vaynerchuk, and, if you're a marketer, you hate him because he doesn't use data to back up what he says. But if you're an entrepreneur, you love him because really he calls the next and future every single time, because intuitively he's been around to know it.
Yeah.
And you sit on one side of the fence. But if you do take that influencer, agency owner as an influencer, I don't know if the word influencer is appropriate, but you work on your personal brand, you're famous for what you do, and you're both becoming famous for that. And Stephen Bartlett's another example. There's a few agency owners who have grown their businesses exponentially, like they're all global businesses in 5 years because of what they do. And I think you guys have got all, I genuinely say this isn't me just blowing smoke up your backsides. Like, you have the ingredients to be a great agency, no question at all. And I think, the fame thing is interesting, because you said something about the long game side of it. And the thing about fame is, and one of my old sort of associates at Cactus used to say this, was, there's actually some famous saying, I haven't got it top of my head, but it's like, fame is as much to do as luck as it is talent, or something like that. And it's, I don't know who said it. It's like not Clint Eastwood, but someone, and it was, and so actually you do need a bit of luck. You'll create something brilliant and that will make you famous. And once you do that, it's a bit like Adam and Eve with the John Lewis advert, right? Once they did the John Lewis advert, Adam and Eve was the go-to for any retailer doing a Christmas campaign, right? Because that's kind of what now that may be a negative because you don't want to get pigeonholed, but
we'll get pigeonholed if we're doing John Lewis Christmas adverts. That's fine. Happy to get pigeonholed.
So how do you pronounce it? Wool, is it? Because the razor company. Wool.
Yeah.
I call them Wool. Because I've used that brand for quite a few years. I quite like the advert you did with them. Yeah, it was good. Or the video you created.
Yeah, it's pieces like that. We have along our journey, like I keep saying, we're very young in our kind of agency journey, but we've had those kind of like that campaign for War. We've had these kind of big moments where we've done something and kind of thought, okay, that's like the next level. And then we can obviously try and going into pitches, and Dan can talk more about pitching because that's his side of things. But obviously going into pitches and kind of being able to not just say, oh, we can do this, but showing this is what we can do. And then, so we've been having those kind of things building up. But Dan's, I can't take any credit for us getting the business in.
There is actually
your roles, by the way. So how do you split them out? So
I head up sales and marketing for our business. So yeah, we actually fairly recently have properly defined our roles, because when you're small, I don't know, you're just doing everything. Whereas we've realized that I've got certain set of skills that are completely opposite to Lloyd's. We should just define our roles. So I'm kind of CMO, head of sales and marketing for our business, and then Lloyd's CEO, and he manages the projects and the teams and that kind of thing.
Okay, cool. So I meant to say as well that I was going to talk about set pieces. And it's funny because I don't know what will happen now post-COVID when we're all of a sudden we're not, maybe more flexible working, maybe less office time. I don't know. We don't know what will happen. Maybe 24 months from now, everyone will be pissed off being hot in their houses and desperate for some air conditioning and some non-yellow lighting. But basically, one of the things that we used to do, and this is around your people coming in, was whenever we had someone come in, we used to set piece the tour around the office. So everybody, like, what would happen is you'd have a really important, we had like EMI turn up one day. We're like, fucking hell, it's EMI, it's a record label. And they turn up and all the coders have basically got black and white screens with shit on it. Like no one understands what an open parentheses, input, closed bracket, plus sign, ampersand means, right? So what we did was we made everyone have a set piece. So when someone came in, they automatically fired up.
Had a case study up on their screen.
Tottenham's new kit, 3-dimensional rendering, like there would be Liverpool Football Club, whatever, David Beckham Football Academy. You'd have, Andy Murray's new whatever Twitter feed that we've just created. And we'd go around this, and I would go, oh, what are you working on?
We're just working on this. Just working on this.
Just happened to be working on David Beckham's, and it was so brilliant. And we take people around, and when I sold the business, the people that one of the people who were looking to buy me, and by the way, I didn't sell it because I wanted to make loads of money and sell out. You get to a point, guys, where you can't, you're not going to grow any bigger easily without having either a lot more money or take a lot more risks. You've got some brilliant people, and you want their careers to go on and do something better. And I knew that if I sold to someone who was more international, my team could, my team went on to work for people like Google and AKQA and some amazing, their opportunities were amazing after we sold, which helped. But the people buying my business, they said, oh yeah, we're going to come and have a look at you tomorrow. And then they cancelled at 5 p.m. the 9 o'clock the next day meeting. And I was like, fuck, we put loads of effort in. We got all the set piece ready. Everything was there. Walked in the next morning at 9 o'clock and he's there in reception.
No.
Went, oh, what? He said, oh yeah, did you not get the message? I'm coming in this morning instead. I was like, no. And he didn't. He faked it. But of course, because we had the set piece, it didn't matter. So I went, oh, okay. So he did it deliberately to catch us off guard. So then I went, what are you working on? And we went around the office and he was like, that's the best tour around an office I've ever done.
Amazing.
Genius. So there's a little tip for everyone listening and you guys, if you ever get an important client come in, because the other famous one was M&C Saatchi when they started again after Saatchi. If you read the story about them, but they were pitching to British Airways. And what they did was they went and borrowed all their friends and family. And they basically filled the office up with a bunch of strangers all surfing the internet, looking like they were working. So when BA walked in, they went, fucking hell, you guys got a massive team. Yeah, we'll work with you. But none of them really worked there. I think there's only about 6 of them or something at the time.
I bet that's so annoying for your staff that, your set piece you mentioned, surely all of them just want to get on with their work and you're there going, no, look at you like you're doing that.
I know, but it didn't happen a lot. Every now and then, it happened. And the team love it, right? Because the team want to get better brands on their CVs, it's harder now with LinkedIn actually to fake stuff, to be fair, like having spare people in, although you could argue you have a distributed workforce or something, but so yes, it's good. So
people have always kind of thought that we've had a bigger team. Actually, it's been interesting. We haven't had to.
Yeah, I thought you had like 30 people, by the way.
Yeah, I think because our whole strategy from day one was originally building up Dan's personal brand. So Dan was kind of speaking on stages around the world about digital marketing. And it was like, and that was at the stage when it was me and Dan in mum and dad's spare bedroom. So I think the perception that we were always kind of catching up with Dan's personal brand, if you know what I mean. That was leading the way and then the business was following. So it's been strange. People always think we've been bigger than we are, but I mean, that's positive. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, the personal brand stuff, because sometimes you put a lot of hours into doing stuff that actually doesn't pay off, and you're like, is this a good use of time? But actually, it does, over time, it does augment. And then
I also think there's a lot of personal brands that get famous for being a personal brand, but we were kind of going down that path initially, whereas we want to be known for the great work we do. So it needs to be kind of a two-pronged approach of building up our personal brand, but because we've done great work, not just because we're good at building a personal brand.
Yeah, but that's very, very true. And I'm sure you have to go back to set piece land. It's like, when you're doing your talking and you're interviewing, you've almost got to seed in the stuff about the agency that does well. And it almost comes like a referral, like you're referring your business as being good at something. And, I call them future trigger points, where you sort of plant something in the future activates. And it's, when you're speaking, it can be quite clever if you drop them in.
Even in the podcast and things, like we never plan to say, oh, let's talk about this thing we worked on. But obviously we're talking naturally about what we want to on our podcast, and you mention things, and then we have leads come in that said, oh, you mentioned about working on this, is that sort of thing you could do with our business? So I think it makes sense to talk about, and it happens naturally as well.
I think that's so true. I think and that's a Vaynerchuk thing, right? Talk about the process, talk about the stuff that you do. Are you fans of his or not?
Yeah, well, the whole, literally when I got out of uni and I didn't learn anything about marketing, the first book I read was Jab, 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 Right Hook. And I became like a Gary Vee super fan. And that's why I started creating content, because he said you should.
Yeah.
And then went through that route. And then eventually you kind of have enough of him, sort of thing. It's like he rams the same message down your throat. But we went to his book signing in London, and we've followed his content for a while. But I think
Did you guys pay to meet him, or was that the other?
No.
Someone paid to meet you.
I was going to mention that.
Turn up.
Oh no, yeah, that's another thing. But
yeah, I do pay attention to your content.
Yeah, you do. But we were saying about the perception and people thinking you're bigger and stuff. We went to this book signing. It was, like a talk, and then went queued and had a book sign. But Dan had a photo with Gary, and we were posting it and stuff.
Sorry, you actually carried around a photo of Gary with him?
No.
Or had a photo with Gary?
Not quite.
No, had a photo taken next to Gary Vaynerchuk. And for like the next year, people kind of going, oh yeah, I wanted to get in contact because obviously you've been working with Gary, and it's like, no, we posted one photo next to him. We haven't, but if you think that, that's fine. If that's why you've contacted us, but it's that perception thing. It's really interesting.
But again, strategically, it's doing the right things. You don't want to be. I don't know, you don't want to be lying and making things up, but it's even with our marketing strategy, we want to be showing the brands we've worked with, you know, on our wall in our office, is these subconscious things of, oh, you've worked with FIFA or Nestle or Ball that people are seeing, and it's painting that picture of we're credible, we're good at what we do without, you know, just making anything up.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And I remember because when I first sort of embraced content, let's say we should believe it or not, about 2007, 8, and I created a news channel which talked on our site that talked all about sports digital marketing related subjects, and I got a couple of journalists to write content every day. We released 3 news stories, got on Google News. It was quite a clever move for its time, but one of the journalists wrote a story about Adidas launching a new website. Now, we didn't do it, but the story was about it because it was on our site. I saw you did the Adidas site with I was like, and I couldn't really, and I was trying to sort of say, no, we didn't do it. We just talked about it. But the bottom line was that we could do the brief, right? So, and there's no misleading, but it's like, this is great because people just walking around.
We're in a working environment, Spencer. We're not just in a lounge like you. Come on, mate.
I'm actually impressed you guys have gone back to work, to the office, because actually most people I've spoken to haven't gone back yet. How's that been for you guys, the whole office approach? What do you think is going to happen in the future?
Interestingly, we're only a small team, so there's 6 of us. So obviously it's easier than if we've got 100 people, but all of our team were keen to get back in the office. I know some other places people have enjoyed being at home and stuff. Dan finds it impossible to work from home, so we left him on his own in the office, even at the height of the pandemic, in this office, and I worked from home. But we've really enjoyed getting back. We've got some weird plastic screens up. We've got hand sanitizer everywhere, signs to space out. We got all these wipes and different things going on. But for us, it's just been, there's something about having people around a table, even if you're sat 6 foot behind the table, and bouncing ideas off each other, especially where we're a creative agency. It just, I don't know, it feels like the life's kind of back in the agency. I know Zoom was good because without it we would have all just been sat at home.
Just time this next loop that she does, just to see whether she can beat the record. Go.
Back soon.
That's really interesting. I mean, what's the average age of your team?
I bring the average age up a bit, but it's probably about 27, 26.
Yeah, see, I think that makes a big difference, because in the agencies, I'd say where they've got maybe 20 to 40-year-olds, 50% of them don't want to go back. But I'm with you, by the way. Like, I'm a visual learner. I'm more of a creative thinker. So when I'm like, I can't read, I can't mirror, I can't I need tall ceilings to think about shit. And it's like, you can't do that at home. Although I've got quite a tall ceiling here, to be fair.
We were working on a script yesterday for a potential client, and there was one part of the script that they kind of said, "Oh, we're not quite sure about this part yet." And me and 2 of the other team here just went on a 10-minute walk and just spoke about it informally, just trying to come up with something, and came up with the ideas. And today the client's happy. So I think just being able to do things like that is really nice for us. I think really helps that creative process.
So in the marketing and advertising world, who are your heroes?
Oh, that's a good one. I'd say someone I definitely look up to and I'm impressed with. I think Steve Bartlett.
Spencer.
Oh, sorry. Spencer and Pete. Agencynomics book.
He could be here today because he's stuck doing M&A work, which sounds really dull, but it's actually very important. So, sorry. So you saying Steve Bartlett?
Right. Yeah, Bartlett. Honestly, I know you've just said that, but we have learned a lot from your book. So I think that is genuinely something that's really helped us, Lloyd.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I think our book's kind of more under the bonnet, really stuff. But what about sort of in terms of the advertising and the marketing? Are there people out there that you think, shit, they really are smashing it? Or
there's one. To be honest, most of I'm the creative weird side of the business, so I get a lot of inspiration from outside of marketing in the agency world, if I'm honest. But there's one agency, and we were lucky enough to meet Travis Chambers. It's an agency in the US. Met him at the beginning of this year, just before, kind of the week before the pandemic kicked off when we were in San Diego. But he's kind of doing what we want to do, but it's probably 2 years ahead and working, on the sort of stuff we want to do, but higher budget, bigger brands, and on a bigger scale. And he's just really creative stuff, ads that people want to watch, not that you're just having to target people cleverly to try and get people's eyes on it. It's advertising and marketing that everyone wins. The person looking at the ads is being entertained, and the client at the end of it is getting their messages across. And so Chamber Media is his business, and that's someone that I really am inspired by.
Great, love it. I'm going to check them out now. You said that, so
yeah, definitely.
Great. So listen, it's been great having a little bit of time with you guys. Good to hear the story. Had a little bit of fun, a little bit of comedy, and hopefully anyone who's watched this, go and follow Knowlton, sign up to Dan and Lloyd's new email, which I totally love, by the way. I think when I've got a really good friend of mine called James Watley who does 5 things on a Friday. He's done it for about, I mean, it must be 6-7 years. He works at, he was at Ogilvy. He's now gone to some other big agency, but he's a big strategist, great guy. And he does a similar email, but not similar, like you, also unique. But it's such a fun email to read in a world of dross. And actually, having said it, I said to Pete the other day, I was like, geez, we've got to sort out our email comms. But I love it. It's great. And I just wish you all the luck with the rest of the journey. I'm going to be keep close eye watching you. And if I can help at any time, at any stage, you know where I am, just shout, yeah?
Definitely. We will take you up on that.
Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you.
And just to conclude, I do actually help people who are small creative agencies in Margate. Yay! A little private joke for those of you who know it. All right.